The New York Yankees have received a trade request from one of their players that has came from Miguel Andujar, a big rookie in 2018, came onto the scene, burst onto the scene, hit 47 doubles, 27 homers in 2018. 27 homers. And ever since then, hasn't really gone his way, struggled a little bit. And now, once again, he has put in a trade request to the Yankees. My name is Derrik, and I'm here with Steve. And listen to Miguel Andujar requesting a trade video. Let's get into it. All right, so Miguel Andujar requested a trade again. Last time the Yankees didn't trade him, they kept on to him. Are they going to trade him this time? I'll throw it off to Steve. First, thoughts on the trade request?
Well, first off, just taking Miggy's side, love the guy. He's a major leaguer. He definitely needs to be he's an everyday player. Let's not slice it in a different way. So I understand why he puts in that request, and I stand behind it. From the Yankees' point of view, are they going to trade him? It's the Cashman way. He's going to try and find some deals. Let's be real, as a Yankee fan, he's definitely picked his spots and has found some diamonds in the rough. So I think they can get something for him.
Yeah, it's going to be the only thing that's going to be interesting with it is who's going to want him, first of all. That's the one thing. I think the one team that you could maybe play is the Pirates. I know the Red Sox and Michael Chavis, and Chavis is kind of struggling. The Red Sox flipped into the Pirates and got Austin Davis back. Maybe the Yankees could look at a team like the Pirates, or maybe a team maybe like the Orioles, who could use a third baseman. And I know Andujar's been playing a lot of left field, but remember, he came in as a third baseman. And I would expect, if I'm Andujar, I would think Andujar would rather play third base than the outfield. Let's be honest. I think he would rather put third.
Yeah, I think he's trying to find some regular third base time. I was kind of thinking about it, just rolling around in my head. I was actually at the game today. Severino pitched a great game, but besides that, is just the fans in the stadium were like, well, what do we do with him? Yeah. What do we do? Should we keep him? Should we trade him? And I was rolling around in my head, where could he go? And two of the first teams I immediately thought of were someone maybe like the Rockies. Especially now that they're bringing the DH over to the National League. He's always a solid bat, and he can help platoon in the infield as well as left field. And then maybe even a team like Oakland, who, they're in the middle of playing the Red Sox, or just wrapped up, actually.
Wrap up tomorrow.
I'm getting my day screwed up.
That's all right.
But it's one of those, hey, he's once again a good at bat. He'd help out that Oakland team, I think. Once again, Oakland has always been really good at picking up other teams' garbage, so to speak, and making it their treasure.
Yeah. Now, the one thing is, I don't know about Colorado because they signed Chris Bryant. They have some other good infielders, so I don't know if that's necessarily a fit position-wise, but you never know with the DH. Maybe a team like Cincinnati could take a flyer on him, as Cincinnati, they're 18-34. They struggled a little bit, and they're younger and they're rebuilding, and that could be an option. Washington could be an option, as they're kind of rebuilding, but they still have that big piece of Juan Soto. And they'll sell guys like Josh Bell, or maybe even a Nelson Cruz could be sold at the deadline. Like I said, Oakland seems like that'd be a decent fit. And then your only other fit, maybe Kansas City, but I think they're kind of full on the infield unless they were to trade another one of their infielders. And then Detroit's got Candelario at third. So you're really looking, most likely it would be a National League team most likely that would go after him, because it feels like a lot of the American League teams are kind of that would seem to take a flyer on him. It seems like they're don't really have an opening. And I don't think teams necessarily are going to want to throw him in left field. And I think this all kind of goes back to Andujar and his situation with the Yankees, and his career so far. He started off as a third baseman, and he was playing well. And after 2018, he's the Yankees' third baseman of the future. The Yankees are going to have Andujar, and the Red Sox are going to have Devers, and they were going to be the two third base cornerstones of the franchises. We've seen what Devers has gone to do, but Andujar kind of hasn't really recaptured that 2018 form. And the Yankees kind of had a little bit of a revolving door at third. They have Urshela, and now they get Donaldson, but Donaldson's not going to be there for much longer. Maybe LeMahieu will slide over to third when Donaldson. Who knows what's going to happen at third base for the Yankees? And that's what makes this interesting. do the Yankees want to risk him being upset and not trading him in hopes that he can somehow recapture his form, even though I feel we're 4 years after 2018, or do they want to stick with him or do you want to say, you know what, we are okay with getting rid of him. We personally can't get anything out of him. If another team can, good on them, but we just can't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, would the Yankees love to keep Andujar? Absolutely. Who wouldn't want to keep a guy who would hit 297 in his rookie season? Andujar clearly is the real deal. He hasn't really recaptured that magic yet. I think he's on his way. The last couple of seasons, he was dealing with a couple of shoulder injuries, little nagging injuries here and there. Every player is going to get that. It's very rare these days that someone's just immaculate health all the way through. From the Yankees point of view, or we want to keep him. From the player point of view, from Andujar himself, yeah, go get the bag. Go get some real playing time. Like, you're a major leaguer and you want to play. It's just a shame. I was in the stands today and a bunch of, Aaron Hicks steps up to the plate and everyone's like, oh, let's get rid of Hicks. That's a topic for another time. But yeah, Hicks today, actually batting lefty, beat the shift. He hit it right down that right field line. So he didn't really beat the shift, but he beat it. Gallo goes up and he hits a pop fly. He strikes out, and I'm like, and the Yankees fans are like, oh, boo, Gallo, he's striking out. I'm like, guys, who? Yeah, Andujar's going to get out there. He's going to have his rough patches too. But let's be real, Gallo's always been a 200 hitter. Yeah. Hicks has always been a 230 hitter. Let's be real. Every player is kind of doing what they're supposed to be doing. Andujar is probably better, but we just don't have a spot for him, and it's a shame.
Yeah, and I think now the intriguing thing is, if the Yankees do keep Andujar, they could have spots opening up after this year. I doubt they're going to bring back Joey Gallo. I mean, the Yankees fans would terrorize them if they brought back Joey Gallo, because Yankees fans pretty much hate Joey Gallo. I think that's more expecting too much out of someone and not realizing, hey, this guy's legitimately a 200 hitter. That means he's hitting around 200. You expect it. Expect like a million strikeouts. That's what he does. I think he was the first player to have more than 100 homers before hitting 100 singles. That's just who Joey Gallo is. But that's got to be realized. But the thing is, he'll be off. He's a free agent after this year. Judge is a free agent. That's a big one. I think there might be a couple. I don't know if there's any other guys. I can't remember, but there's still that's two spots opening up after next season. Donaldson will be gone. I think Rizzo signed a 2-year deal, so he would be gone as well. There'll be spots opening up, but the thing is, I don't think Andujar is going to want to wait, 2 years. And realistically, let's be honest, you're running out of time with him because, yeah, he's still somewhat young at 27, but that's not young anymore. 27 is supposed to be in your prime or just entering your prime, not when you're trying to, hold on to a player and wait for the opening to open up to get him playing time. That's not what you do when a guy's 27. That's what you do when a guy's 23 or 24 at the oldest, not 27. So the Yankees really going to have to figure out, okay, what do we want to do with him? And I said this about Matt Barnes. I don't know if I said it in a video or not. I don't think I said it in a video, but for the Red Sox, with Matt Barnes, it's, at some point, the Red Sox just got to get rid of him. They got to cut their loss and say, you know what? We can't figure it out. If another team can figure it out, good on them, but we can't figure it out, and we just have to accept that. The Yankees kind of have to do that with Miguel Andujar. We could have to say if the Yankees have to look at it and be like, you know what, we've tried for 4 years now, and we can't really get it. You know what? If someone else can get it, figure it out, good on them. But we've tried for 4 years and we can't get them back towards that 2018 form. So I think the Yankees realistically do need to move on from him, and Andujar needs to move on from the Yankees. I think it would be a good parting of ways for both sides.
Yeah, it makes complete sense for both parties. Obviously, as a fan, I wish I could keep rooting for him as a Yankee. I wish him all the best. If he does wind up switching teams, I wouldn't want to wait 2 years. Hey, I'm the guy. I could be the guy. Donaldson, is he okay? Yeah. Is he going to do what he does for the team? Yeah, of course. But do I trust him? not really. And it's one of those things. Hey, do you want the name Josh Donaldson or do you want the name Miguel Andujar? They're pretty much the same player. I think
somewhat, yeah.
they're pretty much the same player. I think Andujar is a little bit better personally. I also think he's got a little bit of versatility. If he's anything, he's showed the Yankees that he wants to be there. Hey, I'll play left field. I'll learn a new position to be on this team. And, that's why ultimately I think he's going to kind of like get his way out.
Yeah. And we got to remember, this isn't the first time he's requesting a trade either. That's the big thing. It's not the first time he's doing it. So, and how much do the Yankees want to risk ruining, having a potential like clubhouse falling out of some sort if Andujar is going to create, not that he's going to create trouble, but stuff like that. And trade requests can always mix some stuff up in the clubhouse at times if you don't have the right leadership. I think the Yankees have the right leadership, but still you never know what can happen. So that'll be interesting to see how, it affects the team if they do intend on keeping him. But I think the big thing realistically here is I don't even know if it's the Yankees necessarily, even if the Yankees want to get rid of him, the Yankees aren't going to go and make a bad trade. Let's be honest. They're not going to make a bad trade. They're not. I mean, you'd be dumb to make a bad trade. So they're not just going to trade him just for the sake of trading him. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, are the Yankees willing to trade him? And two, do they get a good enough offer to say, you know what, we will trade him? Because at the end of the day, if they don't get a good enough offer, they're just not going to trade him. And they'll just use him as depth.
Yeah, I really think that Andujar for this year, if we're looking big picture as the Yankees organization, it's like, hey, we need to keep this guy in and up and down, up and down. I know it's frustrating for you, but he's going to be a guy end of July, after the All-Star break, August rolls around, someone's going to get hurt. It's going to happen. And who do you run out there? Who do you run out there? You got Marwin Gonzalez. He can help out in the outfield a little bit. He's a pretty talented ball player, not a great hitter, but he's a talented defensive player.
He's versatile.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
And so it's like, hey, you got him. Andujar is also very versatile, especially third base. He can play left field, not as much versatility. He's got a little bit more pop in the bat. So guys like that, know your role. You're going to be part of the organization, know your role, do your job. And who knows, he could be a guy, in August when someone's in a slump or someone gets hurt. You throw him in the lineup, you're not going to miss too much.
Yeah. The only big thing is I don't see the Yankees trading him right now. The trade market isn't really established right now. There's no real, there might be a little bit of talks on just feeling teams out, but there's no like actual trade discussions right now because teams right now aren't going to make trades because it's still too early in the season, unless it's a team going like, okay, we got the guy for the price we're willing to. But normally we're not going to see much trade movement until the end of June at the earliest. So I think Andujar can still beat the Yankees at the All-Star break. But after that, I would still after that, unless he pulls back his trade request, I would expect him to get traded at the deadline. Because the Yankees could pull off a trade like the Red Sox. Everyone like Michael Chavis, the Red Sox are like, Red Sox aren't going to get anything if they trade away Chavis. He's barely done anything in the big leagues the last couple of years. And they got Austin Davis, who's a lefty reliever, and Davis has been pretty good this year for the Red Sox. So the Yankees, and we know how the Yankees have been with relievers and finding relievers. The Yankees could go, you know what, we'll trade him to a team that's not good, but maybe they have a reliever with very good underlying numbers that we think we can make better. And that might be the kind of trade they would pull off and try and get a reliever to help down the stretch. I think that's the kind of trade you're looking to, somewhat similar to the Michael Chavis trade, where it's like, you're not going to get a whole lot, but you can get a guy somewhat like a reliever who can come in and help, or maybe a bench bat who has very good underlying numbers, but the other team just really hasn't figured out how to use them. I think that's the kind of trade you're looking at.
Yeah, so that, you bring up a great point, and I was actually kind of thinking that they might go after a reliever or a long reliever. It inevitably seems that Severino goes out with a little something. Montgomery goes out with a little something. Tyone goes out with a little something. All the pitchers go out with a little something at some point in the year. And it's like, hey, do we get that longer reliever who can come in and
Make
hey,
a spot start,
make that spot start here and there. You get him, oh, hey, so-and-so is getting blown up in the third inning. We just need to pull him, not salvage the game, but hey, we need someone to just log some innings on. Get a guy like that. Or, hey, deadline day. Hey, we're the Yankees. We're trying to make a move. We see that you have this reliever who's going to help our bullpen get us through the end. Let's make that deal. We'll Andujar and cash. We'll figure it out.
Or it could even be something like Andujar is part of a package to get something as well, especially like these teams. Like I've heard a name like David Bednar from the Pirates and in a lot of trade discussions. And I know he's a back end guy. Yankees don't necessarily need a back end guy, but they don't hurt. And he's got 4 years of control after this year. Would it take more than Andujar? 110%. Yes. But you could still maybe include someone like an Andujar in a trade like that. Or for a reliever, that's a guy who's a back end reliever on a team that hasn't been good this year and they don't need them because they're not going to make the playoffs. Andujar could still also be part of a package. It doesn't necessarily have to be him traded by himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's always just that. Miguel Andujar also sometimes reminds me of that. If you play fantasy football, you're like, oh, I'll just throw this guy in here to sweeten the deal. I said it earlier in this video. I'll say it again. He's a major leaguer. Teams can use a bat like him, whether he's playing third, whether he's playing left, whether he's just the DH. Platoon him in at a spot. If anything, he's proved that he has the work ethic to try and learn a new position. Heck, you know what? Try him out at first base if you need to. But he's got the work ethic. He's got the drive. Does he still have the juice? Only time will tell until he gets those, all those regular at bats again.
Exactly. And I think, too, that's going to be big for him. Regular at bats, and he's going to have to go to a team that can give him that, which is why it's most likely going to be a rebuilding team. But those are the teams that can afford to take a guy like Andujar and try and figure it out with him. And those are the teams that probably have the best shot because they can give him everyday at bats. And that's realistically, that's what Andujar needs, everyday at bats at the big league level, not at AAA, because that's not going to help him much. Because realistically, at this point in time, he's a quadruple A player, meaning he's too good for AAA, but we don't know if he's 100% good enough for the big leagues if you take out that 2018 season, obviously, because he hasn't really gotten the at-bats and has injuries and struggled when he has played. So he's kind of that quadruple A player where he could be an MLB player, but he just needs the playing time to prove it. And I think that's where it figures out. But any final thoughts on Andujar requesting a trade?
My final thoughts on the Andujar trade is, well, right now he's got 41 at bats this season, between going up and down, but 41 in the majors. He's batting 268, 268, pretty darn good. You got your top end guys hitting over 300 right now, but as a whole, a lot of batters are under that 270 mark. So right around that 260, Andujar's going to get it done. Whether he's doing it in pinstripes or he's doing it in a different uniform, only time will tell. And I think that'll happen around the deadline.
And the thing is, can he find the power to go along with that average? That's the big thing. The power and the ability to draw some walks because that power is there. That's going to be the big thing for him if he wants to prove he can play every single day. That's the big thing. Can he get the power along with that average to show up? But I think that's going to wrap it up. I don't have anything else to say. So this is the Miguel Andujar trade request video. As he obviously put in a trade request earlier today. Make sure to check out everything in the description, the website, podcast, Instagram, the Twitter, all the crew's Twitter's down there as well. Make sure to check out all our Red Sox game recaps that we've been doing here. Make sure to check out all our other videos. We did a video on the Yankees on Friday, so make sure to check that out. We did another one a little while ago as well. Make sure to check out all our prospect pipelines, which we'll have one on the Yankees prospect in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to check out all our other videos. And my name is Derek, and I'm with Steve. This is Miguel Andujar video on Bleacher Brawls. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.